For any of you that struggle with being able to actually hear God speak to you or to get any sense of God's presence in your life, one of the things that you have to be mindful of is how you are expecting things to happen in a certain way. Now, growing up in religion, whatever religion that you grow up in, what you're going to find is that there's going to be a series of stories that are told to you, whether it's scriptural or whether it's people's own experience, people's own testimonies. But what they're going to share with you is just their experience of how they hear God and how they sense His presence. And that may sound like, oh, I hear words, I feel a warmth in my heart, in my chest, there's tingling in my back, I see pictures or images, I just get a sense, it just feels right. We have all sorts of descriptions for what is this spiritual experience. And the problem with all of this is that we then start to build a catalog and even a rule book of this is what I should expect if I really, really try hard. This is what I should expect should happen if I do it, quote unquote, right. And so when we are trying to get things right, essentially what we're doing is we're actually operating from a place of fear. This also connects to everything that we've learned in education and in growing up in this world. It's that we need to get things right in order to be valued, in order to be accepted, in order to not die. We have this fear that if I don't pray correctly, if I don't pray according to the guidelines in which I've been taught, and I don't feel the way in which I have been taught should be the experience, then it is wrong. Then something is wrong. And not just the experience is wrong, it's that something's wrong with me. And so then it becomes an identity issue, it becomes a shame issue. It's hard to change something when I'm just flawed as a person. And this is exactly where the enemy wants us to be. And this is why you get those accounts that talk about how the thing that Satan challenged Jesus on after 40 days of fasting, before he started his ministry, was, if you are the Son of God, then turn this stone into bread, like eat some food, or command the angels to catch you if you jump off this building. The enemy is very deliberate about trying to challenge who we are, trying to challenge our sense of self, because identity is at the core of transformation. It's at the core of us either living a more empowered life or living a limited life. This is why James Clear, in his best-selling book Atomic Habits, he talks all about identity. You know, it's one thing to change a habit, but it's another thing to change who you are. And that habits actually come easier by declaring yourself as someone new. So whether it's spiritual sense or whether it's science, I think they all testify of one thing. And the truth is that when you connect to the truth of who you really are, and when you recognize that there is no rule book, and you detach from every expectation that you may have about how you think this ought to go, this whole getting with God and praying with God and experiencing God, when you get rid of the rule book for how this ought to go, I promise you that things are going to open up for you. If you don't believe me, then I would invite you to join a call that I do every single morning. Literally every single morning. Christmas morning, I'm going to be there. But it's a call that I do to be able to help you connect, to help you have a moment, at least a meeting time, because half the problem is that we don't even have a meeting time with God. We just habitually say a prayer in the morning or in the evening over our meals, those kinds of things, and we apply the formula that we've been taught. And at least the one that I was taught was addressing God and asking for the things that you would like, giving thanks. Those things might be familiar to you. And then you ask questions. And at least for me, when I was trying to ask questions, I would never really get much. because I really couldn't hold it in my mind. I couldn't hold a space in which I could listen long enough to receive anything, or I was so tired that I would just fall asleep. And so the experience wasn't powerful. But I want to say something about this law of detachment, because I met with a guy recently and I was praying with him and I was asking questions. We would go into somewhat of a just visualizing being with Christ. I mean, that's powerful enough. That's a powerful enough lesson for you there. If you start to engage the right hemisphere of your brain, the creative side, the imagination, you'd find that you'd actually have more powerful experiences with the Lord. But in praying with this guy, I would ask questions and he would hear things. And I'm always very deliberate about asking questions like, what's the first thing that you sense? Could be an image, could be just a sensation in your body, could be words. But when we ask a question, it's hard not to receive something, especially when you're in a state and in an experience with Christ. So anyways, he did receive some insights and some words, and I wrote it out and things like that. But it was interesting because afterwards, he told me, when you asked the question, I thought about this experience. But then afterwards, I thought about a different place that was better. And then when you asked me this question about trying to access this memory, I thought of that memory that I told you about, but then I thought of an even deeper, a more wounding memory. It was really fascinating because as he was talking, I thought to myself, when you are listening and you're really just sensing what's going on for you, his thoughts about going somewhere else and feeling something else, all of that was an indication that there's something better. There's something deeper that I need to dig into. And that may all be valid and true, but the reason why I say just go with the first impression is because 90% of the time, it leads to some beautiful learnings. And it did. Like in our experience with this guy, it led to some beautiful understanding. But he was having a hard time being able to sense anything from the Lord, or because he kept overthinking. Once he received something, then he would try and sense something more, better, deeper. And it's not about that. It's just about what's the real-time experience that you have as you seek to connect with God. And when you do that, I promise you that most of the time it's going to end well. Because a lot of times the way in which I have seen the Spirit speak, the way I've seen God speak is just very quick, very direct, very simple. And we can even see that in the scriptures. It's just very direct, very simple, very quiet. Most often it's a whisper. The law of detachment states that whatever you attach yourself to in terms of an expectation, that very expectation and you seeking to fulfill it is going to block you from receiving at a greater level. So go into your prayer, go into your experience trying to sense things from God with this willingness to open up to, this is a mystery. This whole thing is just one mysterious experience that we have no idea what's going to happen. We don't know. But if I remain open to where the Lord might want to take me or to what comes up, then I just get to learn. One way that you might try this out is coming to the call that I do in the morning, where you will have multiple opportunities in which to listen and which to visualize. And one question that you might ask, which is a really interesting question to ask the Lord, is you set apart a time to listen. And then what you do is you ask this question, Lord, if there was a place that you would take me in my mind or in my heart, in my imagination, if there's a place that we could just meet and that I could use this imagination that you've blessed me with to just experience you, where would you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to meet up? And it wasn't but a few days ago that I offered that question to the group in the morning, and the first thing that came up was a bowling alley. I want you to notice that's the kind of thing that I can't make that up. I didn't even recently go bowling. So there wasn't even any contextual thing going on that would remind me of a bowling alley. So I just allowed that to be the place. All right, Lord, we're going to a bowling alley. This is neat. So where are you in this bowling alley? Where am I? Let me just picture the scene. Let me just picture the scenario. And as you do that, and as you ask follow-up questions like, what are we doing here? Like, what do you want me to know from this experience? And the Lord is always so gracious in being able to give us wisdom, giving us understanding. So the question of what do you want me to know is one of the most powerful questions you can ask. And when you tailor it towards whatever you're seeking or whatever you want to ask questions about, then you can start listening and hearing and sensing. So for me, I asked the Lord, like, what do you want me to know about being in this bowling alley? And he just reminded me, I just want to have fun with you today. I just want to have fun today. What if we could just do that? It was a perfect reminder for me. Because sometimes I can get kind of serious. Sometimes I can just not, I can get so focused and like, let's get things done that I forget to have joy in this life, that I forget to have fun. So it was a perfect experience for me. But what's most important is what's needed for you. You can do that kind of question. You can join the call in the morning. You can do some of these activities. And what I promise you is that when you open yourself up, when you stop expecting it to be a certain way and you just allow yourself to I'm going to enter into this experience. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to journal. I'm going to type things out, my prayers, also another important thing. But if you want to really practice this skill, then come to this free morning call that I do. Be courageous. Recognize that your heart is calling you to engage in this stuff. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. So your heart is calling you, inviting you. And when it feels like a pull, like you're just being pulled along, like there's some kind of gravity that's attracting you to this video or this kind of material, then I just want you to recognize that it's likely God just inviting you to go somewhere that could really enrich your relationship with Him. He always wants to be in better relationship with you. So if the idea of coming to this call, if it's scary, but you know that it would help you, then connect with your heart. Know that Christ will give you the power and the strength to come, and that you're going to be welcomed with the most loving arms. That you're going to be walking into an experience, a 30-minute experience in the morning with people that are just like you. People yearning to deepen their relationship. People seeking to just connect more. People who believe that when you really deepen that relationship with Christ, that your life gets better and is more beautiful, more profound, more nourishing, more strengthening. So if you're anything like me and you fall asleep at night in your prayers, this is for you. And guess what? I'm going to look like this sometimes in my pajamas most of the time. And everyone else is going to be in pajamas, unless you're like on the East Coast, or you might be around the world. Got people in Australia, people in Scotland. We've got all sorts of people that come to these calls. So no matter where you are in the world, you're welcome, and you can come. I'll have a link in the description below that you can check out. It has all the details and a video that will explain the whole thing. If this is something that you want to connect with, then come and I'll meet with you. We'll talk. And if there's specific challenges around you being able to sense or hear or connect with who you are and what God is calling you into, I can help you with that. And I'd love to. So this is something that the Lord has invited me into, and this is why I created this video for you. Hope it helps you out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.